In order to save her imprisoned family, Amelia Richardson married the godfather of the mafia, the man who controlled half of Louisiana's underground forces. On the night of her wedding, her husband, rumored to be cold, ruthless, and anything but gentle, pressed the calloused pads of his fingers, hardened from years of gunfire, into the small of her back. But by dawn, tragedy struck. News of an explosion in the Richardson residential area swept through the city like wildfire. Barefoot, Amelia burst into Vincenzo's conference room. With a dozen muzzles pointed at her head, she dropped to her knees, and stayed there 3 days, 3 nights. On the 4th morning, Vincenzo strolled in, calm, elegant, and cruelly composed. With a slow, deliberate motion, he lifted her chin with the tip of his shoe and smiled like a man who'd waited years for this moment. 20 years ago, a single phone call from your father led to 77 members of my family being shot at the docks, he said, voice low and lethal. And because of that call, I was sent to the Coliseum of the Callahan family, forced to fight to the death against 999 of the Godfather's adopted sons, all for a chance to survive. He leaned in, venom curling around his every word. Madam, everything I am today, I owe to the Richardson family. 3 years into the marriage, Vincenzo locked Amelia away, humiliating her over and over again. She considered ending it all, but she remembered her promise, 3 years, one final appointment with her sister, so she endured the pain, night after night, until one day, he injected her with fetal medication. It was so his mistress could carry the child instead. At the time, Amelia would place her hand over her stomach and feel the baby kicking gently against her palm. 1 month left until the appointment. 15 days later, Amelia stood on top of the lighthouse. Her legs dangled over the edge, the wind tugging at her clothes. Just when she thought no one would come, the devil himself appeared. Vincenzo, the man known for his poise and indifference. He dropped to his knees in front of a crowd. He pressed a gun to his own abdomen and begged, "Don't jump." When Vincenzo kicked open the bedroom door, I had just finished placing 3 sticks of incense into the burner. Behind the burner was a small box. My child was inside. "Madam," he said, tone sharp, "you're bold." He stepped forward and rubbed my wrist with unsettling gentleness, the kind that masks a storm. But I knew he was furious. "I warned you not to touch Madeline. Why don't you ever listen? You keep pushing me. Do you think I can't bear to hurt you?" His grip tightened. He yanked me forward, and my arm slammed into the sharp edge of the incense burner, leaving a bloody mark. I didn't flinch. I simply raised my hand and slapped myself. Then I whispered, "I'm sorry. I was wrong." Vincenzo's eyes narrowed. For a second, he seemed to want to touch my swollen cheek. His hand reached out, but then stopped. He pulled back, like I was something filthy. "Madam," he said coldly, "I'm tired of this act." I didn't speak, just knelt before him, my eyes hollow. "It's my fault," I said. "I shouldn't have gone near Madeline's sister. I shouldn't have been close to her. It's all my fault." There was no point in arguing, no room for truth, because no matter what Madeline Russo says, Vincenzo will believe her. Madeline claimed I was in love with her. She had a migraine, and Vincenzo believed her. He dragged me to a Taoist priest and forbade me from eating for 7 days. She said I had scattered broken glasses along her walking path when she stepped on it in heels and cut her foot. Vincenzo made me walk back and forth over that same glass, barefoot, 99 times, without a single word of protest. And just 3 days ago, Madeline had a miscarriage. The doctor found traces of abortive drugs in the tonic she had been drinking. He didn't ask me a single question. He simply decided, without hesitation, that I had done it out of jealousy. Jealous that Madeline was carrying his child. That night, he grabbed my chin with his bare hands and forced me to swallow an abortion pill. My baby was almost due, but under his command, the child was cut out of me, alive, and buried beside Madeline's dead fetus. The pain surged through my chest, ripping open wounds I had no strength left to hide. I bite down on my lower lip, clinging to the last shred of dignity I had in front of Vincenzo. 3 years, 3 long years had taught me this. If I showed even a sliver of weakness in front of him, he'd think I was putting on an act, another pitiful performance to earn his sympathy. Vincenzo's gaze flicked to the small box on the table. His eyes darkened. The next moment, he grabbed a fistful of my hair and dragged me to the bed. The same bed where, 3 years ago on our wedding night, he had thrown me just like this. But back then, I hadn't yet seen the hatred buried deep in his eyes. He smelled like Madeline, as always. A sickly, familiar scent of black opium clung to his skin. I shut my eyes. "My wound still hasn't healed." He laughed softly, leaning in close. "My dear wife," he whispered, his voice laced with mockery, "don't forget, your body is still worth something to me, isn't it?" His teeth sank into my earlobe. He tore my nightgown apart without a second thought. Thunder cracked outside the window. Lightning lit up the sky, casting our entwined shadows across the floor-to-ceiling glass. My eyes remained fixed on him. He didn't even remove his suit. As if this wasn't intimacy, just punishment. punishment. Another cruel reminder of the power he held over me. And yet, even in that moment, I couldn't deny it. I loved Vincenzo. I loved his strength, his elegance, the way he could be a venomous snake to the world, but gentle to me, even if that gentleness was long gone. He was the man who demanded my father give me to him, even when I threatened him at knife point. But I also hated him. More than anything, I hated him. Our first meeting, our so-called love, it was all a lie, a beautifully orchestrated deception, a romantic illusion crafted by Vincenzo himself. He used his own body to walk into my life, just to take revenge on the Richardson family, and because I fell for him, because I loved him blindly, my entire family died in the explosion he planned, except for my sister. She escaped Louisiana with her life, burned beyond recognition, skin scorched, barely breathing, but alive. She once said to me, "Wait 3 years. I'll come back for you." She told me to hold on, to live, and because of her, I endured everything. The humiliation, the pain, the endless nights locked away at the top of the mansion. I didn't throw myself from the window. Because of her promise, because of that appointment, I survived. Then, I became pregnant with Vincenzo's child, a child with Richardson blood, and for the first time, I began to feel hope again. But that hope was crushed by Vincenzo himself. He destroyed the last light in my world. Now, my final thread of strength is hanging by a single promise, and in 7 days, even that will disappear.